Welcome everyone. It seems that the futuristic Tesla Taxi Service, or so-called Cybercab, is actually something that is fully capable to operate at some areas in US. We're going to dive into this, and we're going to see what Tashi Kin has to say from ARK Invest. The second major news is that in 2023, this is last year, more than 44% of all electricity has been created from renewable power sources. We're going to dive into that as well because it is so important to see how the EU bloc is pushing towards the transition towards renewable energy sources. Welcome everyone. You are watching the Better Future Project, where we are all about sharing positivity, knowledge, and having a good time together. It seems that the Cybercab Taxi and the features it's going to represent are not anymore something that might happen. Into a recent discussion from the team in ARK Invest, we can see that they are communicating how Tesla is transitioning quickly from the model they used to do to have self-driving and all the coding to replacing and removing that and improving it with AI. So they deleted over 300,000 lines of code. Now the AI is an end-to-end system. They will obviously discuss how the system is actually collecting data and how it is picking up what data is good and what is not. And actually, it's a fantastic model. While you drive your Tesla, they can run something onto the background. And that something is an FSD software. So when they have an updated version, they can run it while you drive your car. What happens is the driver can take decisions and the software can match if that's the same decision that the software would have done or not. And then it can value if the decision of the software were better or worse. This is how actually Tesla is testing not just FSD 12 point something. They're testing like 3, 4, 5, 6 versions of the software. And this is giving them an immense power and advantage over any other company out there. However, during this discussion, we could hear that Tashi Kin has said something very beautifully, and she explained that there are already areas, even today, right now, in US, that Tesla can turn on the taxi service. Basically, the cars there don't need any interaction from humans. It's completely AI. They run for hundreds of thousands of miles with no interventions at all. If we are going to pay attention to this means that Tesla is already approaching significant milestone, and they start to cover areas that they can already launch the service. Of course, the safety is a priority. Elon Musk has said this to us, so I believe he's going to work a little bit more on it. But this means that the prediction of ARK Invest and of course other prominent figures into this area, between the next 12 to 24 months to have a fully taxi service, autonomous taxi service, is actually going to be very doable. We're looking for 80 to 90% chance of this to happen. Again, this is great. These are great news. I look forward to see how is that going to develop. But let's hear from Tashi Kin and her team.
For Tesla, we've got the whole autonomous technology and robotics team here today. So we've got Tasha Keeney and Daniel McGuire. Tasha, do you want to just take us right in and walk us through the blog at a high level, and then we'll let Nick, who's been reading Threads posts all day, ask some of the questions.
All right. So we just updated our Tesla price target. We pushed it out to 2029. We also published our model as we do every year, so users can download it and play with their own assumptions. But high level, what's different about this versus our last publication? Well, autonomous driving already we thought would drive the majority or over half of Tesla's value over the next 5 years. Now we think that's actually close to 90%. So ultimately, we think Tesla will launch a Robotaxi service. They have a number of vehicles in the fleet that are Robotaxi capable today. And this will totally change the business model. It changes from, mostly one-time sales of vehicles to a recurring revenue stream, which we think will have attractive margins. So we fine-tuned some of the economics that we think will accrue to Tesla for this platform. And then, we've also learned a ton over the past year on AI, FSD, and we've incorporated all those assumptions here. So that's really the biggest update.
So one of the things that maybe we can dive in here is the probability of, or percent of simulations indicating first year of Tesla's Robotaxi commercialization. And so right now we have it at 58% for 2025, 38% 2026, 4% 2027, and then it tails off dramatically. So high confidence in it launching in the next year or two. I know you just mentioned all of the AI developments. What is happening that is giving us so much confidence for autonomous?
Sure. Well, I mean, one change to think about is this is, again, we're pushing the model forward, and one additional year that they haven't launched Robotaxi is already behind us. So if you kind of look back over our previous publications, like it's the distribution over when we think they will launch has shortened, but part of that is really, again, just like shifting the time scale. It's like, okay, well, now we have some time behind us now. So yes, the midpoint of our assumption is next year. The second most likely years in our model, as you pointed out, is the year after that. Daniel, why don't you walk us through like some of the what we think is happening with FSD, some of that confidence.
Just wanted to take a moment here. I'll try not to interrupt too much. Don't want this to be a super long video, but regarding the expected launch date of robotaxis, if you guys haven't looked at ARK's valuation model, in almost every scenario.
So there you go. You heard Tasha Keen and her team are talking about Tesla and the service as Cybercab service, taxi service, and it's actually going to happen if there are already areas that the service can operate even today, and they're not anymore compute constrained. They built up this extra power, compute power, for future fleet, because the fleet of Tesla is growing continuously. This means Tesla will be able to have all this access to all this compute power, to all that information, put it through the AI, update the vehicle software, and happy days, FSD is working. The second news today is that in 2023, more than 44% of the renewable energy has been produced by the electricity has been produced by renewable energy sources, and mostly and mainly windmills, and of course, on first place, solar panels. To be precise, the renewable energy has accounted for 44.7% of all electricity production that the block has been using, and it's 12.4% increase from 2022. And the greatest news, or perhaps the most shocking news for OPEC, and of course for people that own petrol and diesel stations, is that the electricity from fossil fuel fell over by 19.7% in comparison with 2022, contributing to 32.5% of the EU's power. What does this mean is that you have power plants that are burning fossil fuels. While they burn the fossil fuels, they are heating water, so the water is vaporizing and it's moving turbines, and that's how the electricity is produced. Now, when we are looking into this, the major contributor to fossil fuels and the CO2s is actually the power plants. And to reduce the power plants, you need to have a sustainable source of energy. We do know that the windmills and the solar panels are working sometimes during the day, sometimes during the night, depending of the source. In order to make sure that all these power plants are gone, we need to install best systems. If only there was a company that was installing best systems. What does this mean, best systems? It's literally basically big batteries that can store energy when it's excessive or during the night when it's really cheap, and use it whenever the energy is needed back into the grid. Of course, Tesla is specializing in this. They are already installing systems like that, especially in Australia, but they have projects in UK, Germany, America. They're all over, including China. But what does this mean is that means that the more Tesla manages to grow, the better the grids across the world will get, and the power plants will be reduced. If we are looking into a reduction of 20% of the usage of the fossil fuel, this is fantastic news. So this data is from 2023, which means 2024 will hopefully be even better. If it grows only again with the same speed of 12% in terms of production of electricity from renewable sources, this means that the EU bloc will be using close to 60% of its energy, of its electric production is going to come from renewable sources in 2024. Of course, the predictions are different. Everybody has their own opinion, but it seems that the technology is going down in price. It seems that solar panels are getting really affordable, and there are some projects across the EU that are helping to push the installation of renewable sources. In conclusion, after a study from different universities, we have an idea that till 2050, the generation of electricity from renewable sources is going to change the way we use fossil fuels and the way how all countries are becoming more independent. With the combination of BESS systems, or these big energy storage systems, big giant batteries, if you want to put it that way, they will allow us to charge our vehicles, including Tesla Cybercab vehicles and other electric vehicles, of course, on a fraction of the price that it is currently today. This will allow companies like Tesla to use FSD and Cybertruck to transform completely the way we commute, the way we transport services and goods, fraction of the price, greener future, and of course, the best of all is going to be accessible to everyone. So if the electricity gets cheaper, hopefully the transportation is going to get cheaper. This means all the products that we use are going to get cheaper. When you go to the shop, all products there should be cheaper. Now, if this happens, this will allow to all of us to live in a world that is more abundant. The abundance of stocks and products are going to actually happen faster than we think. And everything starts when we have a major breakthrough. It's like a new industrial revolution. And it seems that Tesla is on the helm of it. If you have any comments and if you enjoy my channel, please leave the comments down below, subscribe for the channel, and I'll see you into the next one.